Hello Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today I'm going to talk about why you will only ever see me shooting a hinge style release in all the videos. I shoot a hinge release when I shoot target archery, whether that be indoor, 18 meter, outdoor, 50 meter, or field or 3D, or if I'm shooting, or if I'm hunting. A hinge is the only thing I use, and it's not because I think a hinge is better than anything else. It really all comes down to a nasty case of target panic I had I don't know, 5 years ago or so. Like most of you, I think, I started off shooting with a wrist strap release. That was the first thing I had. I never had any coaching or anything like that. I just kind of showed up at a club one day and some people showed me around a little bit, but I never really learned how to use the wrist strap release properly, as in kind of with back tension rather than just punching the trigger. And for the first 6 months or a year or so that I was shooting, it didn't really bother me that much. I wasn't very good, and so I had trouble differentiating good shots from bad shots anyway. And I would do the occasional drive-by, and I'd make some dumb shots and all that. And I'd also draw and then kind of snap as soon as I got over my target. It wasn't ideal, but at the time it didn't really matter because I wasn't very good. As I got a little bit better, I noticed some target panic creeping in. I tried to switch to a thumb button, which was fun for a minute, and then things started going downhill fast from there. I remember we were doing a series of 50-meter tournaments in my club, at Peel Archery Club in Toronto, Canada. And it was a lot of fun. We were shooting, there were some pretty good guys in that tournament, guys who were better than I am by a long shot. But it was just fun to go out there and shoot them. I've never done it before, and it got to the point though with that thumb button where I started doing better. If I was having a really good day, I'd start off with a few good ends, and all of a sudden this nutty target panic would come in. And then I was doing ridiculous drive-bys and ridiculous kind of, I call it premature admiration. And like the other thing, it sounds like it is not very good. I would just snap and try to look and see where my arrow was going, and it was awful. I got to the point where I stopped hitting the paper at 50 meters, which is crazy. And so I was all but about to quit before I really even got started properly in archery. When another guy at the club here gave me a hinge to use. It was what was that hinge called? Anyway, it was a hinge. Had a safety on it. It was a true ball, a sweet spot. It was a true ball sweet spot, and I used that thing. I was terrible with it at first. I could not figure anything out. Felt like I was pulling through the shot like crazy, trying to get anything, trying to get to break. But every time I shot, it was always a surprise. I didn't know when it was going to go off, and so it made me feel better about myself that I wasn't ruining the shot before it ever happened. And in a couple of months, I saw improvement with it. My scores initially were down quite a bit with the hinge, but then they started catching up, and then immediately passed them fast. Once I got comfortable with how to use the hinge properly, and I wouldn't say like you can force a hinge. You can fire a hinge just like you can fire a trigger just by cranking it down. But I've never had to do that. It's never been an issue for me at all. I don't know why it's not an issue with a hinge. Every time I use a trigger of any kind, even when I shoot rifles or shotguns or anything like that, I'm not strong because I'm always kind of worried about going to punch a trigger. But whatever reason, it just doesn't bother me with this. I really do wish I had the mental strength to shoot a trigger style when needed. Like if you're in a tournament and it's crazy windy, sometimes it's nice to have that option to have a command fire when you want it. Or if you're shooting at a crazy angle at a tournament, it's kind of hard sometimes to get a hinge to run off properly. Or even hunting would be great to have that. But the reason I don't just go use a wrist strap release in those situations is like the hinge is what I practice all the time. It's what I'm most comfortable with, and it feels weird to me to go. Now I'm going to go in the most high pressure situation possible when I'm hunting a deer, and pull out a completely different release than I would normally use when I'm shooting target the rest of the year. So I just said I'll just take the hinge into the woods with me, and I shot my first ever deer with that sweet spot, and then when I moved on to other hinge releases, and before I ended up settling on this Stan Jet Black, which has been my go-to for now for a few months. Did a video on this a little while ago about this used on ArcheryTalk Classifieds. Love this thing. And yeah, I shot a pig with this release. it's just, you know, it's for whatever reason, it's what works for me. I'm not saying you should go out and do it. I am saying that if you're having a little trouble with target panic, it might be a good step to get you in the right direction. I'm still not 100% over it. When I get in high pressure situations and tournaments, I can get a little bit shaky still, but at least I'm not punching the shot, and horrible things aren't happening. I'll have shots that aren't great, but I will avoid catastrophe in those situations. And, you know, I've never had trouble on an animal, which is nice. So anyway, that's it. That's my 2 cents. That's why you only ever see me shooting a hinge. It's not, again, not because I think it's better than anything else. It's just it's what saved archery for me. And maybe one day I'll have the time to commit to learning another release properly. But until then, I'm going to keep shooting my hinge. It's working for me, and you know, hopefully it'll work for some of you too if you're having the same problems I was. Thanks for watching Archery Talk. We'll see you soon.